Think of a clear memory from your childhood, a birthday, a holiday, a moment you can still see in detail. You can picture where you were, who was there, how it felt. Now here's something that should disturb you. There is no way for you to know whether that memory is real. Some of your most vivid, most certain memories are of things that never happened. Your brain built them, filed them next to the real ones, and gave you no way to tell the difference. And the strangest part is how easy they are to create. Because your memory was never a recording. It's a story your brain rewrites every time you tell it. Most people picture memory like a video camera. Something happens, your brain saves the footage, and remembering is just pressing play. That idea feels obvious. It's also completely wrong. Your brain doesn't store an event as one complete file. It breaks the experience apart. The sounds in one place, the images in another, the emotions somewhere else entirely, and scatters the pieces across different regions. When you remember, your brain doesn't replay anything. It rebuilds the moment from those scattered fragments, fast, every single time. And here's the problem with rebuilding something from pieces. If a piece is missing, your brain doesn't leave a gap. It fills it in. It guesses. It uses what's plausible, what usually happens, what fits the story. And it never once tells you which parts were real and which parts it invented on the spot. For a long time, this was just a theory. Then a psychologist named Elizabeth Loftus decided to test how far a false memory could be pushed. And what she found broke the way the legal system thought about witnesses. In one of her most famous studies, she gathered volunteers and, with the help of their families, presented each of them with 4 short stories from their childhood. 3 were true. 1 was completely fabricated. A story about being lost in a shopping mall as a young child, frightened and crying, before being rescued by an elderly stranger. None of it had ever happened. The volunteers read all 4 and were asked to recall what they could. At first, many didn't remember the mall at all. But after thinking about it over a couple of weeks, around a quarter of them did. Not vaguely. They described the mall. They described the fear. They described the stranger who saved them. Some added details Loftus had never given them. They were remembering, in rich detail, an event that was invented for them on paper. And when she finally told them one of the 4 memories was fake and asked them to guess which, many picked one of the real ones. But here's where it gets stranger. You'd think a false memory like that needs weeks of effort to plant. It doesn't. Loftus and others went on to show how little it actually takes. In another line of research, simply showing people a doctored photograph of themselves as a child in a hot air balloon, something they had never done, was enough to make many of them slowly remember the ride, complete with how the basket felt and what they could see. The image alone did the work. And it gets thinner than that. The exact words someone uses when they ask you a question can quietly rewrite what you saw. In a classic experiment, people watched a film of a car crash. When they were asked how fast the cars were going when they smashed into each other, they reported higher speeds. And a week later, many of them remembered seeing broken glass at the scene. There was no broken glass. 1 verb. That's all it took to add something to their memory that was never there. So why is your brain this easy to fool? Because it isn't trying to be accurate. It's trying to be useful. Your memory didn't evolve to keep a perfect archive of your past. It evolved to help you survive the next thing that happens. And for that, a flexible memory beats a faithful one. A brain that can take fragments, blend them with what's likely, and produce a quick, usable story is more useful than one that stores perfect, rigid recordings. The same flexibility that lets you imagine the future, plan, and learn from patterns is the exact flexibility that lets a false memory slip in unnoticed. The feature and the flaw are the same thing. You can't have the imagination without the vulnerability. And every time you recall a memory, you reopen it, handle it, and put it back slightly changed. Which means the memories you revisit most, the ones most precious to you, are the ones you've quietly rewritten the most. So put it together, and the comforting idea that your memories are a record of your life turns out to be the one thing that isn't true. Your memory is not a library of what happened. It's a story your brain tells you, assembled fresh each time, mostly accurate, occasionally invented, and presented to you with exactly the same confidence either way. The vivid ones feel true, but vividness was never proof. A false memory can feel just as detailed, just as emotional, just as certain as a real one, because to your brain, there's no difference. They're built from the same parts. And that leaves you with something genuinely unsettling to sit with. You are, in a real sense, made of your memories. They're the evidence that you are the same person you were 10 years ago, the thread that holds your whole life together. And some unknown number of the threads in that story were written by a brain that was just filling in the blanks. You will never know which ones. The childhood moment you're most attached to might be partly, or entirely, something your mind constructed. So the next time a memory feels so clear that you're certain it's real, remember what certainty is actually worth in here. Your brain isn't lying to you. It doesn't know the difference either. It's just doing the only thing it ever did, telling you a story and trusting you'll believe it.